Well done, Jannik. How do you compare your level tonight with your first match?
It was a very high-level match. I felt like we both played some great tennis. Completely different match from the first match and this one, so I don't want to compare, but it was a very very tough match, tough encounter, and I'm very happy about the win.
Well done, Jannik. You missed the Italian Open, so you haven't played in Italy really for a year. Sort of, what are your emotions when you come here, and how is this different than playing everywhere else throughout the year?
Yeah, it's different. I mean, it's Italy, and the crowd is amazing. They stand with you. If it's good or in bad. I like that, and I haven't played Rome, which for me it was a tough one to call. But I was not ready physical. But now I'm here after 12 months, and I really enjoy it. It's like I never take these chances for granted. This is a bit different tournament than all the others because you have to qualify for it, and already you have a good standing by qualifying for it. So every match is tough, and yeah, I'm very happy to be here, and the crowd is always amazing.
What does it feel like when you're going down the street, just around the stadium and maybe other parts of the city, and all you see is posters of Jannik Sinner on the telegraph, on the light poles and places like that? Does it feel strange? Are you totally used to something like that now, or what are your thoughts?
No, I'm surprised. I mean, I'm just a 23-year-old man who just plays tennis. I mean, I have some sponsors, and the headquarters is from here, like Lavazza and Itesa, and they are from here, and so it's I love the families of my sponsors, and I love the connection I have with them, and it's playing in Italy for an Italian, it's very very special, and I never, as I said before, I never take things granted. I'm still surprised sometimes. It's not that it's all normal, but it's I try to get used to it. I'm just trying to play some good tennis on the court, and which that's why is the reason why I'm here for.
Is it sometimes maybe also a little overwhelming? Because I imagine that the last times you were here in Turin, you were maybe able to go out to some restaurant and do something where you're not the center of the attention. Is that changed for you? Is this week different compared to the last years maybe?
Yeah, I mean, the people, they love the sport here. It's they are expecting the tennis player here, and and of course there are people outside of the hotel waiting for us when we come out, and it's a very warm welcome for all of us, and I enjoy it personally. It's something different as all the other tournaments. Then I don't go out in restaurants to eat this week because I'm mostly here trying to practice or trying to rest in the hotel. So, but it's a very special week for all of us eight. It's the Italian crowd is something what they really love the sport, and this week is about tennis, and usually in Italy it's about football. So they are just very passionate fans.
Hey, Jannik, congrats. When players reach the top of the tour, sometimes it seems their opponents approach the match with a different mentality and game plan. The opponent might feel like they have nothing to lose. They might go full power. They might mix it up with some drop shots and other tricks. I was wondering if you've noticed any difference in the way opponents play you now versus, say, 2 years ago.
Yeah, of course, there are always differences. I always say every match is different in one way. It doesn't really matter when was the last time you play against them or not. But I was also in the position when I played against, number one in the world, and you go on the court and you don't have so much to lose. This is normal, but it's also a bit different because there are players who beat me already, and then you don't think anymore he's number one or number two or number three. You just go by the knowledge from the past meetings, and you try to improve as a player, and that's what I try to do with all my opponents, and just trying to stay in a very present moment, not thinking back and not thinking in the future. This is a very present sport where you have to watch what's coming in this moment. So yeah, it's all good.
Taylor, not the result you wanted, but that was a very tough opponent, and obviously you still have the chances to go through. If you can walk us through the match today.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I think it was a really high-level match from both sides. I felt like I played really well. I felt like he played well. I think there's a lot of positives I can take out of it, and he didn't give me much. I feel like a lot of the points that I was winning and chances I was creating, they were off of me playing very good tennis. And the unfortunate thing is there was a lot of, especially early in the first, there was a lot of 30-alls, 15-30s, chances on his serve where, and I don't count it as a chance when it's 30-all and he aces me. 15-30s and 30-alls where I had looks at seconds, I was in rallies, and I didn't make it happen on a lot of those points. I didn't play the really high-quality points that maybe I was playing for other parts of the match. In those situations, he played a lot of those big moment points better. A bit frustrating in the second set. One of those 30-alls, I finally did play a really good point. He hit an amazing pass, and that's the real difference in that match, and that's why he's had such an insane year. That's why he's number one. Is I felt like we were going back and forth, and it was pretty even for a lot of the match, but he played a lot of those 15-30, 30-all points just a bit better.
Hey, Taylor, well done. How did it feel different than the Open final, and what sorts of things were you trying to do differently than in that match?
Yeah, I think even though the result's the same and the score's not even that, I guess, different, the matches felt very, very different. I feel like U.S. Open, I obviously didn't serve well, but from the ground, I still didn't feel too comfortable. I felt like I was getting a little overwhelmed. I had to rely a little bit too much on either hitting a shot that I didn't feel was maybe a repeatable shot to hit, or him missing or something like that to kind of stay in the, I felt like I was kind of just fighting to stay in it. Today, I felt like from the ground we were pretty even, to be honest. I didn't feel like I was getting dominated in any of the patterns rally-wise, which U.S. Open, forehand, I was getting killed. I felt like I could hang forehand, I was hitting it much more through the court, not lifting it anywhere near as much. Obviously, when I was lifting it at the Open, then it sets up for him to just crush the ball. So, yeah, I did a really good job, I felt like, from the ground today. And then also, like, honestly, I served pretty well. I think both games that got broken, not my best service games, but also, especially the first set when he broke me, very high quality game from him, honestly. I don't think a lot of other people would have broken me with how I played in that game. And then, yeah, unfortunate last game, but for all of the match, I didn't feel overwhelmed. I felt like I was right there.
Trying to get players' thoughts on the balls on tour, and I heard from Daniil and Sasha, they felt that over the last 2 years especially, the kind of quality of the ball has changed, and they feel it kind of dies in the air. And I was wondering, Sasha did some research, and he thinks it's because the materials the ball companies are using are inferior. But I was just wondering what you've noticed in your own play.
Yeah, I saw that. I haven't necessarily noticed maybe the quality. Let's say these are the Dunlop balls. I haven't necessarily thought the quality of these balls have gotten a lot worse, to be honest. It's really tough. It's really tough for me to remember what it felt like, I guess, pre-2020. I think I've really dialed into how everything feels more than ever over the last couple of years. But I think the biggest issue with, like, I guess specifically these balls, which are probably it's the balls we play with the most, and probably I'd say most players agree that this is the most consistent ball that we play with. When it's like humid, the balls get massive, but that kind of happens to everything. I did hear about the factory like changes and stuff during COVID, and I've kind of noticed it with other companies' balls. The biggest one I've noticed is like the Wilson US Open balls. I feel like they can literally be completely different balls from like different weeks, mostly when we play like Toronto, Cincinnati, Montreal, Cincinnati. Last year when we played Montreal to Cincinnati, like you just cannot tell me that those were the same balls that we were playing with both weeks. Like it was just, there's just no chance. In Cincinnati they were going hairless, and in Montreal they were puffing up like they normally do. So like it's just, I agree with that. Sometimes there's some inconsistencies, but I do feel like certain balls have been getting into the tournament rotation a bit more often the last couple of years that just play a lot slower, and they're a lot softer. They feel more dead. A good example is like the Wilson balls we used in Laver Cup in Shanghai. Those are very, they feel great. You feel like you literally can't miss a ball, but they're very soft. It's almost like playing with like a green dot ball. It's very hard to hit a winner. Those balls are probably only acceptable to play with on like a really fast court. But yeah, for me, these Dunlop balls actually play the best. I haven't really noticed too much of a quality drop. I think the only time, like I said, it's a big problem is when it's super humid, because the balls just get absolutely massive.
I know it's a delicate subject, but do you think there should be a final decision issued in Jannik's drug case before the Australian Open? And what do you think just generally about the way the case is being handled and the timeline?
I have no idea what the timelines are like on those things, so I couldn't tell you if I think they should make a decision, or I have no clue how long that's supposed to take. But I mean, I don't know. I think everything's been pretty, I guess, straightforward. All the stuff came out and he addressed it, and it's like I said at the U.S. Open, it's one of those situations, like, my opinion is it doesn't matter at all. It's the same as everyone else's opinion. I don't have any knowledge that everyone here doesn't have. The people that know all the specifics, Jannik and his team, you know. So I guess, you know, there'll be a follow-up investigation or whatever, but yeah, like I said, my opinion doesn't really doesn't really mean much, and I'm pretty unopinionated on the subject, because there's no way of me knowing what's going on or what happened.
I would like to ask you about how much pressure did you feel today on court, and how can you compare that with playing against other local favorites in your career?
You know, I don't feel like I felt too much pressure. I think a lot of that is just because I feel like I'm confident in my game right now. I've been playing well, and when I got on the court, I felt good, and I felt like I was playing well, and you know, a lot of things were working well for me, and I felt like the crowd was, you know, for me playing the world #1 in Italy, I felt like the crowd was pretty respectful. I've definitely dealt with some pretty crazy stuff playing home players in other countries, and it feels a lot worse. So I thought the crowd was, you know, the crowd was pretty nice, and it wasn't a very stressful match to play. Honestly, it was a fun match to play. Like I said, it was very high level, I think, the whole time.
I'd like to know, because you spoke about your match, the way you played tonight, better probably than at the US Open with more chances. What about Sinner? Because someone thinks that indoor is his best surface. Do you have the same feeling, or do you think maybe it's not true? I mean, he's unbeaten this year on indoor, but he didn't play so much. He won Rotterdam, and then in China, you never know if there was a roof or not. So what do you think about him indoor, and what do you think is his best surface?
I think it makes sense that he's very good indoors, because a lot of times the conditions indoors, it's a lot with just baseline play. You know, there's no elements, there's no wind, so you can really just crush the ball, feel the ball well. I like to play indoors as well, and obviously when we played at U.S. Open, it was also a little bit windy. I felt like he played a much better match today, and I did too. Just in general, I think the level of the match was a lot higher, and yeah, I mean, I think it makes sense that indoors is a surface that suits him a lot and suits his game a lot because of just the ability to strike the ball from the baseline.